it always for most of those. That's all right.
And that should be it. Everything else is like minor B-roll if you
Okay.
like typing or anything. There's nothing else. I don't think you'll have to say or explain because you answered two questions with one answer,
I saw that.
and I was like, he's right on it. So
Well, I mean, yes, it's affected it. My newspaper sales are down. My three daughters are all married. Two of them have jobs in the medical field. My third daughter, the oldest one's married to a doctor. They all have successful careers. My oldest grandchild is 11 years old, and I'll be 69 years old Saturday, and I don't think I want to wait till that the 10 or 15 years before the grandson would be old enough or willing to take over the paper. So I don't know that the Lewis family will be in the history of the paper for too much longer.
and one thing I've been meaning to tell you when I catch up, I go to a chiropractor in St. Francisville, and she tells me to tell you hi. I can't think of her name right now, but she lives in Natchez. She's from Woodville.
I know. She's good friends. She was a McGraw. She married a guy from Natchez. Her daddy's name is William. I can't think of her name. I mean, she's good friends of my kids. My two younger daughters, she hung out with them all the time. I can see she's a little bitty girl that's big.
Ashley Edwards.
Ashley, she was Ashley McGraw. Her daddy is a McGraw family from here, and like I say, she's my kid's age.
Yeah, I went to her from the beginning of this year, and now I don't see her as much because my back got better. I don't have to keep going for treatment.
Right.
But she always tells me when I see her to tell you, she said hi.
Ashley Edwards, Ashley McGraw Edwards. But like I said, I've known her since she was a baby. But as far as the newspaper, it worries me. I think about it every day. I don't know how much longer I want to do this. I've been in the newspaper business for 46 years and insurance for 43 years, and I'm just getting wore out, wore down.
I'm sure something will definitely come together where you can.
I may try to sell them, and I hope if I sell them, it's not someone that's going to change the values of either business. My family's bought the paper in 1879, and my grandfather bought into an insurance agency in 1920, so it's 101 years for insurance and 142 years with the newspaper that my family's been running it. And before this building was built in 1952, there was a frame building right there on the corner, and it was produced there for a while. And before that, it was, with Jeremy Efion's office is tax assessor.
Yeah.
It was there years and years ago. There used to be a two-story black brick building on that property, and that's where it was.
I had saw a picture out there, and it had like this building right there, and it was like a wooden building.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a sided, lap siding board building, and it was painted dark green with white trim. I can remember it was here in my younger days. Long before your time. How old are you, Trey?
30, made 30 in January.
Well, if I live through another couple of days, I'll be 69. Saturday is my birthday. And I don't know how much longer I want to do this. It ties you down. I can leave Tuesday night and go somewhere, but I have to be back here for Monday morning. So, I can't take a week's vacation. Because I have to get the paper out. And while I'm gone, it takes me 3 weeks to catch up for the 4 days work week I missed. It takes me 2 or 3 weeks to catch back up with the paperwork.
So holidays are usually your best time.
Well, and I love to hunt. Fortunately, the Christmas, New Year's, and Thanksgiving, I always come through in the fall, and I give my help out as much as I can, but we still got to get that paper out.
All right, introduce yourself, title, and how long the business has been open.
My name is Andy Lewis. I'm currently the publisher of the Woodville Republican newspaper. The paper was founded in 1824 and has been in my family since 1879. So the paper's been open for 197 years.
Yes, and they sound so tired. Well, they probably got up.
The first owner and how the paper began in Woodville, Mississippi.
Okay. The first paper was the Woodville Republican. It was founded in Wilkes County in Woodville by Mr. W.A.A. Chisholm. He borrowed $1,000 and bought the equipment to run the newspaper, and he was the founding father of the Woodville Republican.
What would be some things that are posted in the earlier papers?
Legal notices, foreclosures, lands for sale, miracle drugs, ointments, club meetings, Odd Fellows, Masonic meetings, births and deaths.
How were the papers delivered during this time period?
That's going to be kind of hard to answer. The subscriptions in the first paper were $6 a year. If you paid in advance, it was $4. And I assume that they were mailed just like they are today.
How did your family acquire the newspaper?
My great-grandfather, Captain John South Lewis, bought the paper in early 1879, and my family has run it since then. It was passed on to my grandfather in 1900, to my father in 1935, and to me in 1981.
What business changes did your family make upon acquiring the newspaper?
Now, acquiring it when in 1879?
Yes, sir.
I don't think I can answer that question. He bought the paper 25 years after it was founded, and I don't know whether they use the same equipment or not. I don't have the answer to that question.
As new technology emerged, how did your family adapt to the new technology of printing paper?
Well, in my lifetime here, I graduated from college in 1975 and came back home to work with my parents. We were still using the old hot type form, which you melted lead and reformed it into letters and advertisements, and did that for several years. And then we went to the hot cold type, and which we use photosensitive paper to create the words for the paper. Then from there we went to computers, which is what we use now. We use the Macintosh computers and InDesign program to produce the paper.
When you took over the newspaper, how did people get subscriptions for the paper?
At that time, we sent the majority of the papers out by subscriptions, by mail, in county, in state, and out of state. We sent them all over the United States, and sometimes when serviceman is in the overseas, we'll send them a paper. But paid subscriptions, mail, and then we put out newsstands copies for people to purchase over the county. Why don't you just shut that door? It won't bother me.
I may have to ask that question over because I think that noise took out some of the words.
That's fine.
Okay. What were some of the business practices that you changed when you acquired the newspaper?
We were talking about subscription.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I go to the next one. I think we've talked about subscription. Let's just start with that one again.
How did people acquire subscriptions when you first started on the paper?
Subscriptions, the majority of our papers are distributed by mail, so they buy subscriptions, annual subscriptions to the paper, and we mail them to wherever their home address, business address. We also have over-the-counter sales, which local stores sell our papers by the copy.
Okay. Were there any hardships when you first started running the newspaper?
You talking about me individually?
Yeah.
No, I had worked with my parents from 1975 to 1981 when I became editor, and then 10 years later I became publisher. So I was working with my parents, and we had a system that worked. We put out the 150th anniversary of the paper in 1974, and that was using the hot type method, and then we changed to photosensitive paper at production, and then to the computer for production, and it just we made the changes when we had to keep up with the latest technology. And you sat down and typed, and what the machine did for each letter, it would flash through a negative that had the letters on it onto the paper. So it set the lines of type at the time by light sensitive paper, and then once you get through with it, then you take it out of the machine and you run it through a developer that had a developer and a fixer on it, and you come out with a column in the paper. And that was called compographic. And then we went to we went straight from there to Macintosh computers. You find this interesting. I bought 3 computers and a laser printer. A Mac SE had an internal hard drive. The other 2 were Mac Pluses, and they operated off of a 3.5-inch floppy disk. The program and all the storage for data was on the floppy disk. So one had an internal hard drive that stored everything on. The other 2 operated off of plastic. It didn't even have a hard drive in it. That's what was interesting.
I mean,
See, this is a political announcement. That's for the paper next week. This is front page. I did this all sitting here at my computer. This is front page of this week's paper. What we do is I'll make a PDF of the page and drop it on a FTP site at the Democrat, and they make the plates and print it, and I go and pick it up later that night.